Start the recording. And so we are live now. Hello and welcome everybody. This is the IOTA Community Governance meeting, Tuesday, 23rd of August. We are here again talking about governance in Shimmer and IOTA, and especially from this week on, as we have talked about last week already, we want to shift the focus a bit on the upcoming Shimmer Community Treasury, where we will have to do some stuff and start working on that. But also from the agenda, I have a couple of things from the general treasury, from the governance framework thing. And so I thought we start about talking about shortly the governance framework document that we have released on last Friday in our governance framework, the feedback that we received so far, and potential steps forward, and then shift our focus a bit about the community treasury. Maybe can exchange some ideas. I'd like to give some input from what I have been thinking about over the last weeks. And yeah, let's see if somebody else comes up with some topics. Always open for questions and suggestions about what we can talk. Yeah, so basically, let's. Oh, that's kind of messing up something here. That's kind of wrong. Because what? Okay, let me just change the slides here. Yeah, that's always the mess. I prepared something and then. Okay, so we should nearly be there. Okay, there we are. Yeah, so we, like I said, we had the last 12 weeks, or I think even 13, 14 now, we have been working on the Shimmer governance framework as a general implementation and a general framework for everything that belongs to governance decisions in the Shimmer network. And again, I would really like to thank everybody that has been part of these meetings, part of this contribution, part of working on the governance document. I think this was really an outstanding task that we had to handle here, and without the input from so many people in the community, this wouldn't have been possible. And I'm super happy about what we have achieved. Also extremely well received so far in the community, even if it is a really, really long text to read. And that's, I think, the main issue for most people, that it is basically too much to digest in a short period of time. But those that have read it have left some very, very good feedback on the document, and looking forward to more input and things like this. What we have done in the first day directly after publishing it, some small adjustments compared to how we originally posted this, was that we figured out that so there's a rule that after 30 days, a topic that is not there is no activity on any topic anymore, should be closed. And before we defined that this closing should happen by the moderator, so they would need to actively observe the forum and then figure out which proposal or which post is not active anymore. Basically, we figured out that there is a function in the functionality of the forum software. So we actually have a functionality to auto close topics. So that's something really cool. So the mods don't need to search actively for it. So every topic that will not receive any activity after 30 days will automatically be closed by the system. And so because we have these parameters under probation that can be adjusted by the moderators in the first 6 months without having the need of a Firefly vote, I also added now this the 30 days to one of the parameters that the moderators can adjust on their own with the feedback from in the forum, and put this also there, because it's then just a setting in the forum that can be set from 30 days to 20 days to 40 days to 50 days to whatever we see is needed or useful. So that was something. And then all the tasks and responsibilities, which are part of the framework document, there's quite a lot that governance moderators have to fulfill. We also added them to parameters that they can change themselves. Because if we see after a couple of weeks or months that certain tasks need to be added there, it's not something that I think we need to ask all the token holders for. That is something that can be adjusted by the moderators themselves. And so it would be also one of these parameters that are under probation. Another really cool feature that also will make it much easier for everybody in the forum is basically a feature that you can implement a proposal template directly when you post something. Maybe let me show this to you. So basically, before it was that we had a requirement that people copy the proposal template and then paste it there and stuff like this. Basically, now it is already implemented. So if I create a new, do you see my screen actually? Yeah. So basically, it is now, if you create a new topic in the phase 2 temperature check category, it automatically has the proposal template implemented. And so basically the only thing that you will need to do, so you have the headers, everything there. You have the explanation, what you should fill out here. And then you just basically go and you remove this text and you put in your own texts of your proposal, and you have this template already predefined there. Also, you have the template for the participation event down there. So I think this will make it easier for people to create a correct phase 2 post instead of using the template from a file or something. So discarding this. So this is something that we added, and then the editing of the post topic. So there is a setting actually that you can only edit a post as long as the setting in the thing. So this is set to 5 minutes. The only issue is that this setting only works for governance forum members that have reached trust level 1. So members that have higher trust levels of 2, 3, 4 are not bound to this. So basically they can or could still edit their posts even after 5 minutes. Yeah, you have no possibility to really hinder them from editing. So just made it a requirement in the rules that they have to follow the same rules as phase 1, because we have decided that editing of a post after it is published shouldn't be possible anymore. Even if you see all the edits, they can be viewable for everybody. I think this is a suitable solution. So even if trust level 2 members would edit a post, it's always not something that happens hidden, and but basically we require them to not edit the post anymore. Yeah, so these are
Are
the
those 5 minutes modifiable?
yeah, yeah, they're modifiable and also added to the parameters. Yeah.
Because if we then put something into a phase two
Yeah.
post, we could basically just say the post has to exist for these 5 minutes before we whitelist it as moderators.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
something
essentially,
possible. Mhm.
I mean, it's the classic. You click save and then oh shit, there's a typo.
Yeah, I think if
And
we have
I
to,
think everybody can relate to that, and that therefore I think
yes,
5 minutes, maybe even 10 or 15.
maybe 10 or
That's
15 or maybe even an hour, something like this. Also, the thing is, I think as long as the post is not published, so it's basically only a draft and waits for the approval from the moderator, you can edit this. Yeah, so if somebody is posting something, anyway, it will go to approval by moderators until it is published. Um, or until it is approved by a moderator, the proposal submitter can still edit this. I think the 5 minutes only starts once the once it is approved by the mod. But this is
yeah,
something we should test. If not, I think this is also something that we can easily adjust.
yeah. Maybe when we go into phase 2, maybe somebody that isn't a moderator or admin should try to post it just to see that the flow
Yeah,
works.
yeah, yeah.
Or
Also,
have you been trying phase 2 proposals yet?
not not finally, because for me it's always the issue with my account. I don't actually see what normal users are doing because I can do everything I want in the forum with the admin account. So we could test this.
Yeah,
Uh, one good thing is also because we have this fixed time where we want a phase 2 proposal to start, which would be Monday 4 p.m. UTC. You can set a time when a post will be published. So basically, if somebody proposes something for phase 2, so we don't have to be online for that. So the moderator can just say, okay, this post will be published live at Monday 4 p.m. So we have all the posts then aligned and they all will start at the same time. And then also the 7 days poll duration will start and end at the same time that we set. That's pretty nice, I think. Yeah. So basically, once we receive a request for phase 2, and two moderators have agreed on it, then the moderators can just set a timing and say, okay, we have approved it, publish it officially on Monday 4 p.m.
yeah. It was also something I said suggested that we basically pre-validate posts. So we say, hey, this is fine, but then we'd have to watch for somebody sneaking in edits, of course,
Yes,
if
yeah.
it's possible.
Yeah, that's something we have to maybe try out if there is would be. But yeah, 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 yeah,
Maybe we
that's
should like
you
put
can.
it in the documents that you, even if it's the works, you aren't allowed to edit your post aside
Yeah, yeah.
from typos also.
Yes, this is now part. So basically, it's required. It's stated that you are not allowed to edit it, even if you would be possible as a phase 2 as a trust level 2 member. You're not allowed to do it. It's part of the doc. Um, One really good feedback we got several really good feedbacks, and people kind of course, have been impressed how much work the community has put into this. Um, One thing that I think we all agree, and it is kind of a good thing, is that a requirement that phase 1, the discussion, should have a minimum requirement. And I think also I talked with JD and something. So 2 weeks minimum is quite of a good thing. So that gives the community enough time. So even if you receive 50 likes on the first day and you could directly try to put it up for a phase 2 poll, this 2 weeks gives a minimum time that community members will have time to read the proposal, give their opinions, and stuff like that. So I think the 2 weeks is something we should do. Also, this little poll that we have there, people basically um, are in favor of doing that. What do people in the meeting here think? Is this something we should implement?
I think generally you should do 2 weeks. I'm not sure if there should be ways to shorten that.
Yeah.
Especially if we say it maybe has been discussed before, there maybe because it's an alternative proposal.
Hmm.
I I think generally it's good, but there might be scenarios where you don't want that.
Where you want to have it faster.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe especially if there is already an ongoing discussion regarding that.
Yeah. And then you mean maybe for a counter proposal?
Yeah, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be, yeah, of course, there might be a good thing, counter proposal that only speaks to kind of changing a little thing about that that might not need the 2 weeks.
Yeah,
But of course, if the counter proposal is kind of something completely different, but addresses the same thing, that might then still need people to give them enough time to read through it. Mm,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I think
yeah,
yeah, I think it isn't a big issue to have it. We will not likely need to be super fast in phase one, and we will always have the problem if we allow things to go very, very fast, and then we will have a lot of community members that says, "Oh, I didn't have time, I didn't recognize it, I wasn't there." Kind of,
yeah.
it was
I mean,
rushed. Yeah.
I see why you come up with the 2 weeks
Mm.
for sure, because it also like helps in the temperature check in phase two then.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like people have say, no, this is not how I'd like it. Why did you do that?
Mm.
I'm going to vote against it because that's not really my.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is really a good thing, and we should kind of start with this implemented thing. Also, this of course can then be should be a parameter that can be adjusted by the moderators if we see we need longer or we want shorter things. That is something that we have to figure out in the first couple of weeks and months of using this framework what the best setting for this is. But yeah, 2 weeks doesn't hurt and potentially solves a lot of issues of people saying that they didn't have time and didn't have enough time to review things. So I think that was really a good suggestion from the community member there. So if nobody has strong feelings against this, I would propose that we make this part of the proposal, um, and put this up for a requirement for phase one instead of having no minimum required time, to set this minimum required time of 2 weeks after the proposal was first published.
Yeah.
Sounds, yeah, if
So are we
somebody.
going to put in a note for counter proposals?
Uh,
Are we
y-
going to say
yes. Let's check in the chat. I think this is something think a little bit about. We can check with JD and the others and Andy, what we would think if we need a different or a specific rule for counter proposals. Um, yeah, let's discuss this a bit in the chat maybe. I don't think we need it, but maybe if there are some good arguments. Yeah. Okay. Another thing that was brought up by a community member was the idea of, instead of using what we have implemented since a year and widely discussed last year for the community treasury vote, that we require a simple majority of votes to pass a governance proposal. So basically, the option that receives the most votes is the winner. Um, there was a proposal to increase this to 70% required majority. Um, I just say my opinion on that. Yeah, it's like everybody is free to offer, but basically, I'm not really against this. I basically think 70% is definitely too high. Yeah, um, I'm not against of checking if we can adjust the majority rule, if we can maybe implement intelligent, adaptive uh, settings that maybe even take in account like Polkadot is doing it, where you have the less participation you have in a proposal, the higher the majority is needed.
I was just
Mhm.
about to look that up because I recalled it from our
Yeah, yeah.
2021 DAO
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, and we had a lot of discuss. Basically, actually,
Yeah.
Polkadot is removing it again because they haven't been very happy with the outcome of it. I mean, we had really a lot of discussions about this in
Yes, it's a difficult
2021.
issue, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really a
It's,
difficult issue. There
but I think
are
70%, that's too big of a
that
hurdle. I mean,
that's too big. Yeah, that's definitely too big. You could argue, okay, 2/3, so 76%, maybe. Then there was a
that's still too
proposal.
high.
Yeah, then there was a proposal of having different tiers for different importance. Like, okay, something that is critical needs maybe 70, and something that is only medium is basically, I think, we should have this discussion. But
Hmm.
I know that such a discussion will take quite a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to halt the whole proposal process now for just speaking the next 2 months about this single point of the whole thing. Um, I would really suggest that if anybody wants to change the simple majority rule, um, everybody then can put up a proposal in the governance forum and ask the community, okay, really make a proposal with a detailed explanation and implementation of whatever rule is favored by the person, and then the community can discuss this in the forum, lengthy and how long we need for it, and come to a potential vote. Or the community says, no, we are fine with the 50% that we have been discussed and decided in 2021. Stick with it. Yeah. So that would be my suggestion, because I know this would delay everything that we have planned now. And basically, also over the last 12, 14 weeks, nobody has brought this up. Nobody had any interest in changing the 50% rule. Also, now we see in the little poll we have in the forum, similar, there are people that are interested in it, and but again, a majority here says like, okay, keep what we have, basically. Yeah. Yeah, what do people think? That's mainly my question.
I think you should keep it the way it is, 51%, because anything else is just too problematic. Until somebody comes up with a defined another method that seems to be, flexible. I just watching voting across different DAOs and watching it just even in politics across the world. These
Yeah.
higher measures really basically put you just they prevent you from taking action when action needs to be taken, right? So I find them kind of like
Mhm.
hard for
Yeah,
democracies to be able to accomplish what they want to. So
yeah. I
they
also think
become
that
stuck.
these
Yeah,
rule just supports like keeping the status quo all the time.
exactly,
Because
exactly. It's
if you like
yeah,
say I pass a proposal, let's say I want 3% inflation in Shimmer, passes 80%, and now if somebody wants to increase that to 4%, he has a much higher barrier for that.
yeah,
Yeah. And
Despite there might there might be a majority because maybe I was the assume Shimmer didn't had any inflation yet, and I was the first to suggest it, and people were like, "Hey, that's a really cool idea," but then modifications to that would just become harder, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, it's similar, and especially because we really, I think we need to be flexible in the beginning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Once we are live with this whole thing, a year or whatever, and then we have really found a ground and have data available and had a lot of governance votes and things like this, and see, okay, this turned out good, this turned out bad. We can always change it, and yeah, we should always be able to change things. And yeah, I mean,
But we already
70,
have evidence, right, from Polkadot and other ones that where
yeah,
they're actually been changing this. I mean, going away from the restrict.
yeah,
They essentially did what we're talking about, right? They made it.
yes, they made
They
it
made it
adaptive and stuff like this.
harder, and
Yeah,
yeah, and all that. And what did it get them? They're
yeah.
kind of saying, oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I
So
know, I know a couple of communities have this. They use two-third, or they use different tiers for different kind of proposals, and for some of them it works, but the big majority uses the simple majority thing. And like I said, this we can have this discussion. We should have this
yeah,
discussion if it's coming up in the community more and more, and people request this. Um, Go for it. But yeah, I think we can agree because this would set up the current proposal for many weeks until we would have found a common ground on specific percentage or specific implementation of things. Um, and if it, in the end, it's our proposal, yeah. If we all kind of those that have been working on this over the last weeks and months are happy with the 50% rule, um, we should propose it, yeah. And then if the community agrees with it, and then later on somebody wants to change it, can put up an own proposal to change this thing, and then we'll see what the outcome will be.
and then the question always comes and is 50% or 65% or whatever percent of what, right?
Yeah.
Like, right? What is? How do you measure the universe of people that you're going to count as the people that make that percentage?
No,
There's
normally it's
obviously right now percentage of people who voted at all.
casted
Okay.
votes.
Essentially, in
Yeah.
Firefly, you have different options. You can say yes, you can say no, you can
Yeah.
say I don't want to give my vote. Also, that's not implemented in Firefly, but it's possible.
Yes.
And the third option would be to give an invalid one, but that's also not supposed to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So currently it's only like there are 100 votes casted, and 49 to 51 is the majority for the 51. So always of the percentage of the votes that we have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So no minimum.
The minimum what we have is 5%.
5%
Yeah.
Okay.
participation.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I missed.
Yeah, we set a minimum participation of 5% to really, because otherwise, I mean, this is something that we changed.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have talked about this in the last couple of weeks,
Mm-hmm.
what we would change in the current thing. And so one thing was that we went from 10 days counting down to 7 days. And we changed from having no minimum quorum to have 5% minimum quorum. Yeah, to make
Yeah,
it to make not every proposal that is absolutely not interested for anyone of the voters to pass through. So 5% I think is nice. This is maybe really something, if we see we get more regularly more participation, like in the 20% thing, I would even then propose maybe to rise the 5% thing. But
Mm-hmm.
this is also something need to be very careful thought through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's over. I mean, it also if you like do 2 weeks 2 votes a month,
Mhm.
then it's. I mean, I've obviously the more votes you have, the lower participation you will have
Yeah. Yeah. I think we will have.
on average. If there's stuff
Yeah.
that's like really important and what the it's going out on all channels,
Mm-hmm.
then in this case, we would really have a lot of participation, but I doubt people will open up their Firefly wallets too often, es- especially if you have your tokens on a ledger and you maybe have
Just in
Mhm.
general, yeah,
regular.
yeah, just
Yeah,
in general, yeah, yeah. That's why, what the our community DAO, right? I mean, the communication DAOs, when they only do their votes on the weekends, that's kind of it helps, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, anyway, we will once
Cool.
we have smart contracts, we will also
Yeah.
then can start to think about all kind of other cool voting stuff that will be possible then. Yeah, so nothing is set in stone here. We will have to change things along the road in the next couple of months, and I wouldn't block anything with such a high requirement. Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Okay, cool.
mm.
Nice. So, anybody has any more comments or feedback on the current proposal in the audience, maybe? Somebody got any questions? Okay, so basically the next steps would be I would kind of follow this one proposal here already and keep the current proposal for 2 weeks in phase one. Yeah, so maybe there will be some more input from the community or whatever. Um, and then, so basically, Friday next week, we would have had it 2 weeks live. Um, and then basically Friday next week, because we have already reached the minimum requirements of 50 votes, we would then put it up for a poll for 7 days. For this poll, we really will need to make a little bit of noise in the community. Um, I'm writing a blog post in a moment from the foundation, so we will release a blog post maybe beginning of next week that again explains a bit of the framework and invites people to take part in the thing, and then we will have this poll. We will need to reach the 100 votes in the poll, and if we got this, then basically we are ready um, to put it up into Shimmer mainnet once the mainnet is live and everything is ready for voting. So this would be basically the plan to move forward.
So is there going to be a phase 3 on the IOTA mainnet
Not
or
on
no?
Shimmer mainnet. On Shimmer
Shimmer
mainnet.
mainnet
Yeah.
once it launches. Okay.
Yeah. Once we are live, then I mean, I wouldn't put it up, maybe not in the first week, because everybody first have to claim their tokens and get used to and start everything. But I would basically say second week, once mainnet is live, we can start voting. Yeah, because then people will have
Yeah.
they have claimed their tokens. They will be anyway playing around with Firefly and stuff like this. And so then we can put it up for a vote in Firefly once we have passed the poll.
Yeah. I mean, something we could do for the first vote is to like do a longer period for voting commencing. To say like we have 2 weeks for pre-voting and then one
Mm.
week counting or so. So that we could like kick it off immediately so people
Uh,
can like, hey, claim tokens and vote. But
yeah.
then we like have, maybe we can do, I don't think there was a maximum. But we could like
Mm,
do 3 weeks and say this is just so everybody
yeah,
can do it.
I think one thing. I mean, yeah. One thing is, Shimmer will have much more milestones than IOTA, so database will fill up a little bit quicker. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, well, I mean, I will see. I think we will have enough. We'll have enough attention in the beginning with mainnet launch,
yeah,
and so people basically will play around with their Firefly wallet and their tokens, um, partially.
yeah.
So I will, yeah, don't think we will need really longer time. But
Mm,
yeah, we can
yeah,
discuss this. Yeah.
I mean that's for discussion, but I think essentially because there might be some more proposals coming up in the next days.
Mm,
Because I think if we like did the phase 2 work, we can like say we apply this for now here on the
mm,
forum. But
yeah.
so there might, of course, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
only look at my crystal ball to see how long Shimmer release will take.
Mm.
But that we might have a couple of proposals queued up until this point.
Yeah, yeah. This
So
and
I
they
think a
can
longer
can
period for
also
this is kinda good.
yeah. Yeah, they can also then already follow the structure and everything in the forum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, cool. What else? I think this was stuff for the governance framework. So again, I would invite everybody to read through the proposal in the forum. Give it a like, leave a comment. If you have any questions, we can always answer things there. And then really invite you, once we put it up for a poll, that everybody that supports this implementation um, votes for it in the poll, and so that we can move this into action and get it implemented in the network as soon as possible. Um, Another thing I would then like to bring up today and shift our focus is that we have a community treasury in Shimmer, basically. And I really think we kind of need to work on setting this whole thing up and implementing it. Um, because one thing we have to see is that with this 10% allocation to the um, community has become the second biggest or even biggest. I mean, the IOTA Foundation has in the beginning, um, not really, because it's going to the EDF. So basically, you can say the community is the biggest stakeholder and the biggest token owner and the richest entity in the whole Shimmer network from Shimmer launch on. And how should I say? I think with this big amount of token ownership by the community also comes a bit of a responsibility to do something for the network because it's always yeah you are the one we are shaping the possibilities and we are able to shape the success of Shimmer with these community tokens um, for the community with a really strong support that can be offered by the community there. And we have been talking about all these things for many years, and we always have kind of struggled because the IOTA Foundation can't do this and the EDF can't fund that, and we would like to have more outreach and we would like to have marketing and we would like to do this and that. And always the answer was like, nah, IOTA Foundation can't do it. EDF is not allowed to do that and all these things. We have to shift our mindset here because the community can do now all these things. The community can really boost the Shimmer network. And I would love to work on implementing some mechanism that really works in a very effective and not very bureaucratic way of using these community tokens and really kickstart development and stuff in Shimmer, and also for all initiatives that I mean everything that works on Shimmer will be um, will be positive and good for IOTA. So we can leverage this and really boost outreach in the crypto space for IOTA with those tokens. Yeah, and I just wanted to remind uh, on the sessions that we had with Bankless 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, where they introduced these different grant programs where and how other ecosystem funds are operating. and just go a little bit again into what I really think is one of the best, maybe even the best setup for such a community treasury that we currently have in the space. Yeah, not only just from feeling, but also from metrics and from data that is available. And this is actually what Aave is doing. Yeah, and I would kind of really favor that we think about, if people are interested, to create a kind of a copy of Aave for our community with some adjustments, of course, that will fit us better. But the blueprint, how Aave is doing this and how Aave has used their treasury to create massive growth for their ecosystem and for their network and for their token and for everything, and it really increased also value for the token holders, is really exceptional. Yeah. Um, Maybe for those that haven't watched the session with Bankless where they explained it, I absolutely recommend to visit our YouTube playlist because there are all the sessions recorded. And these are some of the slides that they used where they basically explain it. So in Ava, you have a committee of grant reviewers. I think they have 6 people there um, that are selected and elected from the Aave community to be responsible for handling a budget of tokens. Um, and they have basically very much control over what happens with these tokens. They follow some guiding principles there and some basic rules, what can be funded and how much can be funded and things like this. But within this committee, things are usually operated um, very effectively and especially very quickly. And this committee has received an amount of Aave tokens or of network tokens for, I think at the beginning they got 6 months and basically have been allowed to operate as they see it the best usage for these funds. And the thing is that the success of this program was really outstanding. And so the other community then decided to extend this for another year, I think, and also to increase the amount of tokens that they can spend because they have seen that they have really reached outstanding growth and adoption and new projects coming into Aave and leveraging those things. And it has basically been extremely positive. And so they have this system of different tiers where basically up to 20,000 US dollars grant, only one reviewer will do something they call a rapid approval. And the rapid approval means that within 48 hours after they have received a grant request, they have a decision and they have a payout or they have a decline of this thing. And this is really seems to be also, we've been talking with builders, also with builders that have used Aave as a grant. And this is something that is super attractive for projects because if they can deliver quality and they can prove, of course, it's not something that they give out blindly, but they can prove that they have built something similar on other ecosystems or they have a history in the community. Um, they have a real quick access and they can really directly start with building stuff. And then, of course, they have higher tiers. So for 20 until 100K, there will be 2 reviewers and there will be an interview with the team and everything will be recorded. And for higher things, they then need to be, they need not only the grant reviewers, but also this will be discussed in the community. And for big ones above 500K, then there will be a vote of all token holders on that. And they, of course, have rules for milestones and stuff like this. But basically, this is how they operate. So they give trust to certain community members for to give out grants really quick for small projects that all focus on growing the ecosystem and do some good stuff for them. Yeah. And here they say it. So they are usually funded with a 50% down payment at the beginning. So none of them receives all.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Who chooses the reviewers and how many are there?
There is one lead. There's one lead. This is full-time employed, and the reviewers have been selected by the community in the beginning, and the community has also the ability to remove or replace them with a governance proposal. And the reviewers are they are employed on I think on a 10 hours per week basis. So they get, of course, a salary. And the lead of the program, who is also responsible for doing all the administrative things, reporting and things like this, is a full-time employed, basically gets a full-time salary for doing this. And I think he can also, I mean, I don't know if he is votable out or exchangeable by the community, but I think, of course, in a governance vote, they can also do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there so for the can you go a slide back? So for
Mhm.
everything smaller than 20K, you
Yeah.
would have just one person saying this is
Yes.
good.
Yes. So they have a form. They have a. Let me show you. They have they have a form on their website where basically you it's a Google form where you apply for a grant. Let me show you here. So this is their little website. You apply for a grant. Basically, you fill out, come on, you fill out a grant application with your name, email, what category of grant are you asking for? Yeah, developer tooling, code audits, hackathons, events. You fill in some information about you, you describe your project, you put up links, GitHub, stuff like this. You put up goals and milestones that you propose, and you put up how much funding you need, and if you have a legal status or not, if you're incorporated individual or whatever. And then you can already put up your wallet address and you submit this, and then one, I think, randomly chosen, or I don't know how internally they do it. So one reviewer receives this apply, and if it's below $20,000, the reviewer has 48 hours to check all the information that you have provided here, look into your GitHub repo, look up your history, maybe in Discord or in the community, and look up if the project makes sense with the funding request and the things like this, and then they give out this grant without big complicated issues. And
Yeah.
what I really think is really interesting to see is they have, of course, a great database of the grants they funded. And so this is the list of payouts to projects. So like really applications and teams that did build something for Aave. You see there are basically a lot of the things are like 10, 15, 20, 7. So it's not like they really throw out huge amount of funds. 500K or stuff like this is very, 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 very seldom. Mostly stuff is like this, yeah, 10, 12, 15, 6. There are some bigger ones, but all of this stuff has rapidly increased the usability and adoption of Aave, and has really been extremely successful. You see, most of the stuff is small grants for little applications, for teams that improve the protocol step by step. They have building dashboards, they have building implementations of stuff into the protocol and things like this. And so in the end, they have spent $3,200,000 in something over 12 or
That's
14.
the grants.
That's
They have actually paid 2.5 D right
this is
now.
what in the end. Okay, this is what is already paid out,
This
and
is
this,
because here partial payments
yeah,
you can see.
yeah. So
Like
this would be
in line
the
100, in
yeah,
1 to 3, this mean finance, you see they applied for 25,000,
yeah,
but they received 15K so far.
yeah. Yes, so this is already paid out, and this is the total approved grants if all stuff is paid out. Yeah, and so this is like not extremely much. Yeah, 3 million something in over a year, not bad. I mean, they have a treasury of around 400 to 500 million, and this is also
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, this is this is actually events and stuff. So this is actually things that are absolutely community focused. This is things that really create outreach and that really improved also the public knowledge and the public standing of Aava. I mean, everybody that has a little bit looked into DeFi knows Aava. I mean, I think besides Compound and Balancer, it's basically the biggest lending protocol out there. And you see that they sponsor a lot of events. They go give out bounties. They have hackathons, and they have little also things like media and a little promotion and things like this. I mean, they have some big things here, like I mean, 100,000 for a newsletter and things like this, and they sponsor. To be part of the weekly Bankless newsletter with $50,000 per week. I mean, that's per month. That's tough. But they also have, again, really a lot of small grants, some sponsorships, some events, where they have really made a huge progress for their standing and for their outreach in the whole Web3 ecosystem. And this is stuff where I really think that community or our community or community members can really step in, because you don't need to be a developer to approve such a thing. Yeah. So if somebody is requesting a grant for presenting IOTA or Shimmer on a blockchain conference in Berlin, or on an event in whatever, or in Seoul, and they are known in the community, these are respected members, and they just say, hey, we have time, we want to set up stuff there, but we need like $7,000 for renting stuff and things. Bang. And with this stuff, you create awareness that we are still existing. Yeah. And because basically we are kind of, nobody sees IOTA or Shimmer outside our bubble, because we are not breaking out of our own little thing. But once we have the tech ready, and we are able to present us again, we need to do things like this, and we need to do this as a community, and we will be able to do this because we have the funds available. We'll just need to start things like this, and with things like this can create immense positive outreach and immense positive things for the whole community and the project. Yeah, and they here $1,800,000 in, I think, 14 or 15 months now that they paid out only for community events and sponsorship and marketing initiatives that have really pushed this whole thing forward. And this is something where I really think the community can focus on delivering things like this, because we are crying about not being able to do this in such a long time. And I think we should really move quickly into the direction of making something like this possible.
yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah,
Although I guess we the Shimmer Treasury won't have a lot of money at the beginning. Depending on what the market cap of Shimmer actually is, I guess we
that's the
might
thing.
just sit at I guess we will just sit at a few million.
We'll see. Well, we'll
Yeah,
see. We will have something, and also we have. I mean, we have a lot of current community members that would love to do more, but it's like always. We've seen it over the last couple of months. We have just a couple that have been able to move from a full-time normal 8 to 5 job into doing basically Web3 work. Yeah, I mean, Linus has stepped over the edge, let's say it like this, with the content creator DAOs and a couple more, but the opportunities in crypto are really amazing. And I mean, I can't say it myself. I've done it the same thing, yeah, moved away from a kind of safe, okay, I didn't have a real normal job, but moving in this crypto world, you need to have just you need to be sure that you have the next 12 months or the next 6 months a steady capital income, and then you can, instead of just doing a boring job and sitting in a factory somewhere, you can basically do what you love, because you can really do something for the project and the community that you belong to. um, but this only works if there is a possibility to incentivize people that want to do something and they have the skills to do something. Yeah, I mean, we have Thomas, we have Kutgraf, we have so many new YouTube people coming up. They would all love to do more for us, but they can't, because there is no funding really available for things like this. And the community can change that. And this is what I really would love to do, um, to implement for us so that we can do something similar. Um, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Aave is doing great. Bankless is doing great. We should think about how we can combine the best of these grant programs that we find out there without creating a too complicated thing. Because teams, if you have 10 grant programs out there and they all kind of offer easy funding, and then we will require for every dollar that goes out full KIC of all team members, and it takes you 6 weeks until you get an approval. Nobody will be interested. Nobody will move their projects into Shimmer or IOTA ecosystem if we overcomplicate things. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just a small thing. You have to watch out that people don't drain the treasury for and don't give you anything in return.
Mhm.
But B, you really have to trust people.
Yeah, that's. I think if you rewatch the video where the guys from Bankless explained it, that's really the thing. That this was also the feedback from the Aave community, and also the feedback that you get. I know many other projects do it like this. Yeah, Near is doing it, Algo, Harmony, all the projects that have basically taken off over the last 16, 18, 20 months, yeah, Avalanche, they all had a similar approach of making funding easily available, especially for the low tiers, and trust teams that apply and that want to build, they will build. They will build something good. They will not. Not every dollar will be spent perfectly. Yeah, um, but even if 10 or 15% will not create an amazing product, or will struggle, or will fail on the way, the 70, 80% of the other funds will create such an
Yeah,
growth in the ecosystem that nobody cares if there are 5% of the tokens or 10% of the tokens not resulting in a beautiful, amazing product in the end, because you just need 15, 20 high class apps that really kick off such a thing. And the value of an ecosystem can increase incredibly with this, yeah. And this will be good for all token holders, yeah. We're all gonna have some Shimmer tokens, and then, like you said, if their Shimmer is worth a couple of million, or if we can add a couple of numbers on that, it depends on how we as a community um, take part in this growth process. Yeah? And
mm,
yeah, that was basically my little rant of saying, let's just really start to do these things, set it up, think about who could be members of such a committee, who could, how would be the real rules for this. Yeah, there's still some stuff to do, but I'm putting together a document in the moment what I think would be a good approach for that. Taking, like I said, a lot of stuff from Aave, a lot of stuff from Bankless, some things from Uniswap, some things from Near, and
I think we
combining.
should also
Hmm?
I think we should also include some things from optimism. I really like the
Yes,
retroactive aspect.
yes, Andy. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Optimism is doing great, and it's a if you look into how optimism has kicked off. I mean, just look over the last. They exist actually since 3 or 4 months, yeah. And now optimism is basically the biggest or the roll up with the highest value locked in it. And they just kickstarted this with their incentives of retroactive funding. Um, and they've overtaken basically all other roll up solutions that are currently out there um, with their approach of retroactive funding and incentives that they have created. And we can combine all these ideas and set up something really, really cool for the community and figure out how we can really boost our ecosystem with this.
Yeah.
Yo, um, so my plan would basically be to, like I said, I have a draft document. I'll maybe share it the next days here. I also know that we have done a lot of good work in the bridge fund thing, and I know JD and we all have already developed some really really nice ideas around guiding principles and things like this. Um, so I really would hope that we can combine all these stuff together and work out a concrete proposal that we then can present to the community once it's ready, basically. Um, Also, really think about community members that, or a process how community members could be proposed or propose themselves to be part of such a committee. Yeah, what requirements would be there? Then there is some legal stuff to think about, but this is something we can very likely use, partially use the Swiss association for that, and maybe create a. Yeah, so there's like stuff to talk with the lawyers about that, because I think basically these committee members should be either employed or put under a service contract. Um, and then receive proper salaries, and they will need to pay taxes and all this stuff. But that would be really crypto native jobs that the community can create for people that would be able to do this important job for the community.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I think it's part on the community to really realize that you have the power now. Yeah. So once Shimmer goes live and those tokens are there, um, you can use them. You can do with them as you please. Um, and the best thing for this is really to increase value and adoption in Shimmer, because it will be good for everybody that owns and holds a couple of Shimmer tokens. And everything that we start to boosting on Shimmer will then be able to move over to IOTA. And so it will be it will have this double effect. Yeah. Once we have convinced a couple of teams to start building on Shimmer and move from ecosystems like Phantom or Cardano or whatever, or VeChain or Ethereum, whatever, move into Shimmer, try out what we have to offer, because our tech is amazing. The problem is just nobody knows about it, yeah? And so we have to solve this first issue of nobody knows that we are still existing and better than ever. And um, people need to have a reason to move to us instead of all the other projects that are also currently popping up around us. Yeah, I mean, you have projects that are shielded by big VC funds like Sui and Aptos and all these new layer one things. They all offer great incentives, but we have an amazing community and they don't have it. Yeah, so they're basically empty chains that are promoted and pushed by some big crypto VC funds with some fancy names on their tech, but nothing of there has been proven to work. and they also kind of don't have this backing of such a huge community like we have. And I think this is really our strength, and we need to show this to the projects that we are a community kind of ready to start and there, and we've been waiting for stuff so long. So we are also really nice customers for developers basically, because we will be able to use their applications in our network. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the system would really work well with IOTA.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, and the cool thing is that you've got, how you just showed us. We were able to look at the projects, the many different projects in the other
Mhm.
systems, right? The cool thing about that is we can, if that can be a reference for us, whoever does the job, to see how much they should pay for jobs,
Yeah,
right?
that's so
Because that's one
cool.
of the biggest things is, okay, how do you price a job, and what's paying too much and what's paying too little, right? So that
Yeah.
this will be it seems trivial, but it's not.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
actually
difficult to figure this out, and I
have to
really
price it up.
love that Web3 is so open. Everything here, I mean, there's not the absolute details what's about that, but
Right.
if you really look up these things, I mean, you can look up what they are doing, what have they built.
Yeah.
Yeah, here stuff, DeFi basket. You could now look up in Aave in the ecosystem. You will find this project. They have potentially built a dashboard or whatever. Um, yeah, and so you can figure out, okay, does this product exist? What are they doing? You can look into their code base. Was this kind of just a simple copy paste, or did they develop themselves? And you can see basically, okay, they got their 10,000. And they moved for this amount of money. They moved and developed a project.
Yeah.
And what I also really like is this stuff what they did with events. Yeah. Um, So you see, okay, they got some bounties for events, but that's not much. 1,000, 2,000, $3,000 for putting up a bounty in one of the big ETH online events. I mean, bankless sponsorship is of course an expensive thing, but I mean, being the main Aave is the main sponsor of the bankless newsletter, which is one of the most read and most outreach creating publications weekly going out to millions of people. Yeah, and everybody reads and sees the logo and gets notification and gets information about Aave with such things. And I mean, why not try out stuff like this? Yeah, create
Yeah.
outreach for Shimmer, inform the world that we are there, that we are coming, that we have everything that a developer needs, and we have an amazing community sitting on the sideline and waiting to finally use their tokens for something. So it's like basically everything you want from a developer, yeah. And it's not we are not a meme coin. We are long-term addicted people to this project, and so like I said, we are really good customers for projects, yeah, because they basically know if they build something here, they have long-term customers, yeah, they have a long-term they can build a long-term relationship with a really strong and old and active community, yeah, and this is something that we need to leverage because all those new projects they don't have it, yeah, they have maybe a Discord full of bots and a Twitter account that gets shilled by Twitter bots and things like this, but there's no real community behind it. Yeah, and we are different. We just need those funds to be available to make the next step of adoption possible for us. Yeah.
Yeah. So does this mean we can do meetups? So for example, I know here in Seattle
Absolutely.
we've talked about doing different meetups and stuff like that.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course you could. We should. I mean, this is how crypto works basically. There's so many conferences, there's so many meetups, there's so many stuff happening, events, hackathons, stuff like this. And this is basically where all the crypto people meet and where they meet other projects and they got friends there. And we need to become part of this because otherwise we are just like not visible to a big part of the developer community because we need developer teams to come in and use our chain and use our Tangle and use our product and use the EVM, whatever we think. Yeah, and we need to get in contact with those people, and the best way, one of the best way, is definitely to attend conferences, attend meetups, attend hackathons, and not isolating us all the time from the rest of the crypto world, because we see what has where we are now with this strategy of isolating us for a couple of years, and we just the last 1.5, 2 years have moved into another direction. But now that we have the tech available very soon, going to be decentralized, have smart contracts, have everything available, and have a feeless base layer, um, we are quite an attractive package then, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also something important. We should not like spin the big market drum before we actually have something delivered here.
Yeah.
Because I mean it's a classic IOTA doesn't deliver. You read it on social media all the time.
Oh
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
it's
think
got to be
with
there.
the launch of Shimmer, given that it works, maybe we should give it a while, but I guess the treasury
Mm.
until the treasury is fully formed, it's gonna take a while, so we have some time to kinda establish Shimmer to see it's out for 10 weeks and hasn't been hacked yet, so it's not the old IOTA. Just joking.
Mhm. Yeah, but that's really true. And in the beginning, we can also I mean, I think really this is something. Maybe first you need to get some developer teams, start to build cool stuff, and especially bring solutions that already run on other projects. Um, to our EVM, because then basically people will find familiar names, familiar products, familiar use cases that they have already used it on whatever Polygon and something, and they figure out, oh, it works the same way, or it works even better on IOTA. Interesting, cool. Yeah, everything works here, everything's fine, and everything that we know from EVM compatible chains also works here, and they have some really cool other stuff going on. Nice. Huh? And then once we have a couple of those bigger teams here and they are running on us, then and our tech works and we have proven, yeah, everything's cool, then we can go
Yeah,
out into the world and say, hey, we are back. Yeah.
yeah, I think just that at the first few months, I guess we have to kind of put in some breaks because I guess these back people they would really like to do a massive shill storm. But me
Yeah, you.
personally,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of shilling. He, Linus knows because he offered me like there was a project that offered like some money for shilling IOTA, but I said no. But I
Yeah.
would actually say and not just chill, but actually show something
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
that's how you really get good good traction and not just pick up
No.
some hype boys, but also you pick up really people that are interested in developing and staying with the project.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is really, it's up to the community. Huh? It's you don't need to wait for the IOTA Foundation. I mean, we also have a bunch of tokens, but we are probably also going to focus on some other important things um, that maybe not the community won't be able to do stuff like this, yeah, because they don't have the connections, they don't have the standing, they don't have, yeah, but the community can do a lot of cool stuff with their treasury, and yeah, so we just need to enable them to do this. And yeah, let's work on this together over the next couple of weeks in our meetings. Um, Focus on that stuff. Create some idea of how such a committee could work, and then maybe we get a nice proposal going. And if the community wants to try it out, yeah, I mean, this is also something, again, nothing set in stone. I would do something like, okay, have a budget and have something for 6 months. And then if it's crap after 6 months and we see it didn't work and we didn't fund anything, we develop something different. But basically, I think copying a lot of things from Aave and some of the other good projects um, won't be a bad idea. Yeah, that usually, if it's done with the right people, it will be a pretty successful thing.
Makes sense.
All right, my friends. Does anybody has any comments, questions on that whole thing, or is everybody? Yeah.
Slightly unrelated, but are there going to be like bug bounties? But I guess that's going to be from the EDF then, right?
I don't know. The community can of course have a budget for bug bounties, but I think engineering is talking about that. There's no final decision or nothing yet set in stone. But yeah, I think that's, of course, because it's protocol related and it would need to be reviewed by engineering. Stuff like this would be very likely more, especially the protocol base layer, layer one, and EVM bug bounty thing would potentially then come more from the EDF side. Because we have the engineering resources, and somebody in engineering would need to decide if this was a real bug or whatever. Yeah, but I have no real idea how far these thoughts are in engineering.
Yeah, I guess that's another thing, but I just wanted to mention it here because I think that something like this, find a mistake or so, could also
Yeah,
be
always works really good.
worth.
Yeah, you can also,
I think you don't only have to do grants. You can also like do bounties.
yeah, you can do a lot of cool stuff. Like the community can go do. Of course, not everybody is a dev, but we have also documentation and things like this. Yeah, so finding spelling errors and you can, you can put up here $100 or $500 for improving the wiki. Yeah, writing a new page, writing a tutorial. It's like so many cool stuff that other projects are doing. They involve their community in improving all kind of aspects of a protocol, because it's not only all code. Yeah, there's much more stuff around, and education, tutorials, documentation. Everybody can get involved in such things, and the cool thing is we don't need to do it for free anymore, because we can reward community members that want to help the project. And before I was always just like, sorry, make an EDF application and in 2 or 3 months you will hear back from us, and potentially it will very likely not get funded, but so it's not really interesting for people. But okay, look into this, improve it, make a pull request for wiki improvements, and bang, you get your $200-300 from the community treasury. Super nice. Why not? Yep. Okay, cool. If there are no more pressing questions, I would say thank you all. Think about what we've been talking about. It's really, first of all, not something that is in a far future. Things are moving, things are happening. Shimmer will come, and act as a community and take responsibility of being actually the biggest stakeholder in the whole network. You as a community have it in your hand to make something really out of the Shimmer network. If we don't do it, it will be quite boring. If we do it the right way, it can be super interesting and can move us into the right direction also for IOTA in the future. So let's work on that. Yeah, use the governance channel, use the next meeting, hit me a DM if you want to get involved or whatever you like. Bridge fund people, please bring up your ideas that you have developed over the last couple of months, and let's combine all this cool stuff together into a proposal that we can present the community and kickstart this whole thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
sounds good
Thanks,
to
guys.
me.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, my friends, amazing. Thanks, everybody. Go to the governance forum, give you a like to the post, and once we have it up for a poll, please, everybody, vote on the poll so that we get the foundational thing ready for Shimmer, and then up on this we can build a really cool community treasury. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
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 Bye.